I was a toe jumper. Hit the side of the plane, knocked teeth out, like fractured my jaw a little bit, TBI, all the good stuff.
Were you conscious the entire time?
No, I was unconscious. They were pulling. Apparently, they were pulling me back in, and then my D-bag deployed.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. All right, hey, today I have another episode of Beyond the Beret for you guys. I got a buddy of mine from 3rd Special Forces Group. I know I'm interviewing mostly 3rd groupers. Well, guess what? I'm here at Bragg, and that's who I have access to. So if you guys want to be on the show, let me know. We can either do it virtual or you can travel. All right. With all that said, guys, Chase Hill, fellow 3rd grouper. Right, Chase, if you don't mind, just give the folks a quick synopsis of who you are, your career, and then we'll jump right into your story.
Yeah, my name's Chase Hill. I'm originally from Texas. I was in the Army for about 13 years, SF for all but the training of it, so, 9-ish years. 7 of that on a team, 6.5 of that on a team, and then 3 at Swit before I ended the tour there.
So now, Chase, we'll go all the way back to the beginning. You mentioned that you were from Texas. Did you have anybody in the military? Like, what was upbringing like, and what made you want to join the actual military?
No, I mean, my grandpa served a little bit in World War II. He was kind of a mechanic on things. Didn't know a whole lot about his service, and honestly, I mean, when I was growing up, it wasn't something that it was that I thought of as a big deal. I mean, I thought it was cool, but it wasn't something that was like a family trait or anything. I went to. I was a little bit of an unruly kid, I would say that,
I think we all were.
Yeah, unruly teenager. I think my mom probably can tell you some stories about being the maddest she's ever been, dealing with some of my shenanigans. But so I was one of those kids, didn't have a whole lot of purpose. Went to college, couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, and then it was. This is 2000. I graduated high school in 2004, so 9/11 is still decently fresh in everybody's mind, and ever since that had happened, it was something, I saw all these other guys that were doing something about it, and so I kind of thought, well, maybe that's an avenue. I looked into the Marines first, actually. Was pretty sure I was gonna be a Marine, and my parents talked me out of it. They were like, they live in tents and they don't get to shower and it's gonna be terrible. And so I thought about it a little more. Thought I was gonna try a few different things. I did I was a landman, buying up oil and gas leases for a little while. You make really good money doing that, but when you're, 22 and you don't have a purpose or any goals in life, it kind of it can lead you down a path that you don't really want to go down. So I kind of saw it heading that way, picked a different route, and tried some selling roofs, selling some other things. Yeah. None of it was really what I really wanted to do. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to join.
What's a landman? Like, what is that again? Yeah.
So they work for Big Oil. They'll go into it. Well, actually, we didn't work for Big Oil. We worked for a smaller company that would then sell to Big Oil, but basically, when they target an area, they send in a bunch of people to negotiate the leases so that they can drill. So, and you're negotiating that with the mineral owners of the property. And then
you get a percentage.
Yeah, and then so you get a percentage of all the sales. So basically, we would go in, buy up a lease agreement for this property, and then once we had enough and the big oil companies needed them all from us so that they could start producing, then they would buy them from us.
Gotcha.
And so you get a cut of that extra profit from holding it hostage, kind of, I guess you could say.
Gotcha.
But so I did that. Like I said, you can make a lot of money doing that, but you're living in hotels and you're,
So a lot of traveling.
And it's just not, it's not a sustainable life. Well, not for me anyways.
Yeah.
So I ended up looking into the Army. At first, I wanted to do EOD because I watched Hurt Locker before I knew anything about what the Army was, and I was like, "This is cool." Yeah. No, little did I know that they ain't doing that cool guy stuff. Yeah. But ended up hearing about the 18 series, reading about it versus SEALs and everything else, and then I was like, "Yeah, I I want to go be a Green Beret. So.
Now, who would you hear all the 18 X-ray, all the 18 series stuff from? Did you know people that were already in the field?
No, just from reading online and then talking to the recruiter, you know, and he tried to talk me. He was like, he wanted me to go EOD because they had like a $40,000 signing bonus. Yeah. And I think SF at the time had like an 8 or something. And I was like, I'm not doing this for the money. Yeah. You know, like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it and be the best one I can be in that. So. Gotcha.
Yeah. Now, leading up to that point, were there any conversation with your parents as far as, hey, I'm joining the Army? Because you mentioned she didn't want you to do the Marine Corps, so you worked for a little bit. When you went back to actually do the 18 Extra program, were they supportive or were they?
I mean, again, it was uncharted territory. They had no idea what to kind of expect. They wanted, if they were not really against me doing it, they just wanted me to go be an officer. I was almost done with college, and so I could have finished before joining. Yeah. And then went in as an officer, and that's kind of what but I'd also at this point been reading enough that I was like, I don't want to be an officer because they get 2 years on a team and then they're done and they're into staff, and that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah. Nor did I want to be in like a staff position. That's not what I was joining up. Yeah. So that was kind of why they were pushing back against it, I guess. Mm-hmm. But they were also just trying to protect me. I kind of grew up an impulsive person. And would do things on a whim. So this happened a couple times in my life. So it's fine. You know, stuff happens. Yeah. But so I think it was just them trying to protect me from that. And I went back home and worked with my dad for a few months before I actually joined up in that waiting period from when you signed to before you go in. And everything was great. We talked about it and they were cool with it. My dad came to the parent day for basic, when you get to go like see your family for the first time after basic training, all that cool stuff. So
all patriotic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was cool. So we had a good time. And then, the family came down. I think they came down. Yeah. When I graduated before I went on to airborne and hung out in North Carolina with them for a little bit. So it was great. And then ever since, obviously, they're worried. They would be worried when we deploy, but ever since that, they've been
Now, how old were you when you actually shipped out to basic training? Do you remember?
I turned 24 in basic training.
24, okay. Yeah, so you were one of the more mature 18 X-rays, right?
Right.
A lot of 18 X-rays that I speak to now from this channel, they're, like 18, 19. Mm-hmm. By the time they hit selection, typically 21, 22. And some of them just are lacking that leadership experience, right? So when you came in at 24, so you were somewhat experienced as far as you went to college, you were working, you know what I mean? So you had so you're the ideal 18 X-ray essentially.
I'd had a lot of time to fail at different things and figure, and make bad life choices and then turn the right way from them. So I kind of had that. That definitely helped. But it was a two-way street. I needed someone to like sit down, shut up, and do this. Yeah. And that Army kind of mentality that was still there when I went through. Mm-hmm. That was important. And I knew I needed that because I knew it about myself early on. If you gave me a job when I was younger and were like, this is yours, just go build it and make it big, I was going to go play video games, or I was going to go do something else that was not productive for it. Yeah. The Army taught me kind of how to be a productive human being. Yeah. And so, definitely.
Now, how was your basic training experience?
Obviously a lot of the stuff I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. Like I'm doing cherry pickers and standing around in this room and they sleep deprive you, and then if you fall asleep you get in trouble. It's just it's just silly, but it's silly. Getting told to go, you have 2 seconds or 20 seconds to run upstairs and get in another uniform and come back down with everybody in formation. It's an impossible task that you can't make. And other people would get super stressed out about it, and they're like, we gotta hurry. And I'm like, bro, we're not gonna make it no matter what.
It's 20 seconds.
Yeah, just try, but we're gonna go get smoked. It's just part of life at this point. Just go with it,
It's designed that way.
Yeah. I had a funny. It was the day. It was so some of the stuff I did. I look back on it, I was so stupid. But I had a day It was the day we were supposed to get off. We get off for a few hours and you get to go in to get to shopette and get candy and stuff you haven't got to eat for a while or whatever. and you have a little bit of freedom, I still wanted to eat all my breakfast.
Yeah.
And it's everybody knows once you get there, like if you are at the beginning of the table and you stand up before the last person's done eating, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
You're an asshole. That's rude.
Yeah,
like I was still eating. Like you could have went slower, just pretended and not stood up. But now you stood up, so everybody has to stand up. Mm-hmm. And it's just like ruined it for everyone. Well, I was like still shoveling pancakes in, trying to get one by, and the drill sergeant caught me. And he was like, "You know what you're gonna do?" And I was like, "What, drill sergeant?" And he was like, "You're going to drink milk until you puke." And he did. He made me chug milk right there in the DFAC. I got 2.5 glasses down and then puked. I did have to clean it up, though.
There you go.
So
that asshole that got up first cleaned it up.
Yeah, someone that works there has to clean it up. But he just laughed. After I puked, he just laughed at me and walked away. I was just like... So he was cool at least. Right? Yeah. He was a winner because it was hilarious. But
it's one of those things. Like I've heard horror stories of guys, calling home, not being able to handle it. Ronnie was one of them. From his last episode. Yeah, because he like he mentioned in the episode, he didn't like being alone. Like he's always like a talker, and he didn't like taking like the direction from the drill so much. So he was like, man, it sucks. But clearly he made it through it.
Right.
Now, did you have any challenges at basic OEIT, or was it, hey, it is what it is, I got to do this to get to my end state and then graduate and, start the pipeline?
No, I mean, everything was pretty straightforward. I was in good shape at that point. I was smaller so I could run faster. But, but that was kind of what was necessary at that point. So nothing in that regard. Airborne went smoothly, and then the Q course, I got to brag in end of 2011.
Yeah.
And then, end of 2010, and it's because I started the Q course the very beginning of 2011.
Gotcha.
So, the Q course was decent until the old CTM the bug hit at level 2 in the medic course.
Yeah. Oh, good time.
I got and
now were you a medic?
Yeah, I was a medic.
I got you.
Yeah. So Sergeant Smith, never forget. I don't remember his first name, but never forget him. He was the dude that nobody passed.
Yeah.
Like everybody probably people have stories like this. Like this is real. This is a real story. Like nobody passed this dude. Everybody knew it. It was like a huge known thing. Like everyone that ever he failed, recycled and passed the next run.
Yeah.
Like
that was just his thing.
It was just you just didn't pass, and I had him, and I was like, I'm gonna pass. Like I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do it, and I didn't. Pissed me off a lot, and I was like, I don't even want to be a medic. I'll go be a Bravo.
Yeah.
And when they took me into the board to like help me, or you're supposed to beg for a retry. This is all you ever want to do, and I was like, just send me to the Bravo course. I was like, I don't want to do this. That was the best medicine that I could have possibly given, and it wasn't good enough. And instead, they were like, this. We kind of like this attitude. Actually, go back there and do it again. And so
you went back.
I recycled CTM. And then
now, what's a CTM? Why was that blocked?
It's the combat trauma module.
Okay.
And so
now, was that guy just an asshole because he wanted to drive the point home, or was he just one of those instructors?
I mean, I'm not gonna say whether he's an asshole or not. That's who knows. Like he was obviously an asshole to us. We're students though.
Was he a third grouper?
No, I think he was fifth. He was a fifth group maybe.
Enough said.
Yeah. Not for sure, But it was a known thing. I mean, you knew it coming up. You talked to all the other dudes in the classes before. You talked to anyone that had recycled before, and they were like, if you get him, you're like he passes like maybe one student, and that's if like he just has to.
Yeah, should have bought him a couple of cases of beer before.
Right. I mean, he probably at home he probably is a cool dude. He just as an instructor was kind of a dick. Yeah. But I mean.
Yeah,
your instructor has different than your everyday hat, and that was his thing, So
And I've seen this in the past when I was at Swit. Like certain instructors, they have the pet peeves, right? And it comes from, like maybe it was something that they experienced while they were out running and gunning, to where that certain experience stuck with them, and they're like, hey, I'm going to do my part to make sure every student understand this to the highest level, and if they don't, then I'm going to have them see it another time.
And that's exactly, I mean, he was just extremely strict on everything. Yeah. And, I mean, and a lot of the stuff in medicine is subjective. Yeah. So the more experienced person can out-argue, especially the cadre to student, So that's, I mean, again, it is what it is. I was cadre, so, like, I understand what having students means, and, like, the difference you had. You can try to be cool at first, and then they're going to take advantage of it immediately. Yeah. And then you're like, well, I guess I can't be cool. And now you got to be a dick. And it's just, that's it.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, so we'll take it back a little bit. So now you get done with airborne. Did you have to do SOPC prior to going to selection?
Yeah. I did SOPC, and that was, so we went to Camp McCall for that. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I think it was just like 2 weeks at that point.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's up to like 6 weeks now, or maybe
I think it was like 2. It was like 2 or 3. It wasn't long.
Yeah,
but it was at that time. It was beneficial. I just assumed it was going to be like everything else that I dealt with in the Army so far, and just that it was going to be a smoke session for just to like teach you again that you suck, And it was, and it really wasn't. They all. I don't have any like negative memories about SOPC.
Do you remember who your instructors were? Because I remember this. We used to call him Buzz Lightyear. Maybe that was a different time.
Get me drunk enough, and we'll probably all the stories will probably come back. All the names too, Because there, and then CLT as well. Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of interesting. I do so actually. Sergeant Sullivan, I think it's Sullivan, dude. He was the pre-hold SOPS and SOPC like dude in charge of all that. Like, so obviously he hated life. I mean, I would have hated life. You have however many hundreds of students, and you're dealing with that or whatever. But that dude was ruthless. I don't know if do you remember the old, they're gone now, the SOPC barracks?
Yeah.
The old SOPC barracks. So that hill right behind them. Yeah. Remember that hill? Bro.
He left your soul out there.
Oh, dude. One time he came into the barracks and they were dirty, because they can't be cleaned. It's just not. You can clean them all day and then it's going to look exactly the same and terrible. It's just life. Yeah. And just live in how dirty it was. We had to pull every piece of furniture out of the building. And this is, mind you, so this is also a Thursday. This is the Thursday before a 4-day. Mm-hmm. But we were all reporting to selection on Saturday. So, like, we were, we didn't even get the full 4-day. And so we were, like, hoping we would get an early Thursday so we could get, like, Thursday, Friday. Yeah. And then, like, we'd have to show up on Saturday morning and then take off and get there. Or maybe it was Sunday. Whatever it was like, short from whatever the full weekend was anyways. But we pulled out all the furniture. In between it all, he's making us run up that hill back and forth. I mean, this is hours and hours. And then some kid was hiding in some of the furniture that we'd already pulled outside. So we just got destroyed even more. And I was just like, at this point, like, you're like, well, what do you do, bro? Like, just run back up the hill. Yeah, like, he got kicked out, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. That was back in the day where...
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, back in the day, it was still a fear of, like, getting kicked out, for doing something, whatever.
So he just hid out.
Yeah, he's just hiding in the... Like, literally, like, someone was like, why is this locker so heavy? You open it up, this kid rolls out. Like, oh, my God, dude.
I'll tell you what, man. The amount of dumb shit that I've seen
throughout. I can tell. Yeah, I mean, we can all sit here. We can tell stories for days. Man.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah, so
that's a smart kid.
Yeah. And then Sergeant Castaneda. Everybody knows Sergeant Castaneda. You know Sergeant
Castaneda.
Dan Castaneda. Everybody.
But it's weird because there's a couple of different Castanedas, and I've never met the guy.
Okay, so yeah, there is.
But I've always heard from.
I can't remember what the other.
Because there was one that had third group language lab.
Yes.
Is that the same?
No.
Okay.
He's legit. He was awesome.
Yeah.
This guy don't know his first name. Castaneda as well, but don't know I don't remember his first name. But he was great. He was super chill. He was always that dude who's just like, if you need help, we'll figure it out and we'll get you in a class or we'll get you whatever you need from the
you're talking about has like a stronger accent.
Yeah, he was 7th group dude.
Okay.
He did take a 3rd group team in Afghanistan and got
rolled up because he was forging his awards and all that.
Oh, well, the team refused to work for him. And
I think so I've never the 3rd group then Castaneda, I've met him a couple of times. Awesome dude. The other guy, I always hear horror stories about him.
Oh, bro.
Literally every X-rays that I've had.
This is all right. So I get being a dick to like students, whatever, or soldiers, But I still remember I was working in his office one day, and his kid is in there, and he's just yelling at this kid the same way he yells at us. This like 7-year-old little boy who's just like. Yeah. He's like, Daddy, I want to be a Green Beret. And he's like, you'll never be a Green Beret, you fucking piece of shit. Oh, and we're all just like, I was just like, okay. Yeah. So, that dude,
beat,
ruthless.
Yeah, and I was beat into, well, not literally physically beat into my guys, but I would always tell them, especially when we were at Swit, like, hey, like the way you treat these students that you have right now that are eventually going to be your teammates, eventually they're going to become civilians. Yeah. That's going to carry.
They're going to be your friends.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is the whole point of all this. I mean, when I got to a team, I was treated like an adult. Yeah. I mean, there's the little, like, I wouldn't even call it hazing because it's not like no one's actually trying to hurt you or whatever, but like, you don't deserve everything yet. Yeah. Like, you shouldn't get a locker right when you come in or expect to get one. You got to earn that. You got to earn these things. And that's how I was treated coming in. I didn't have the best senior at the time, so I don't even want to get started on any of that. So I basically walked into the job. Yeah. And was I literally got to the team. We went to Tajikistan 2 weeks later, and I went without a senior because he had some issues going on, and so I'm going on a JSET with no clue what I'm doing. Like, I'd signed for property. I didn't even know what I had. Yeah. He didn't even help me like with the property. He was just like, it's in those boxes.
Yeah, I think I had a similar situation, but yeah, we say all this to say like, because even till this day, just to tie it back, like I'm sure if you were to run into, Dan Castaneda, like automatically you would be triggered. It's like leaving SARE school and going to the fucking market and see one of your instructors. Yeah. Like, oh God, you know what I mean?
I would just be like, this motherfucker, but if there was a conversation to happen, I mean, anyone that knows me, like I'm not gonna play your little game, dude. Yeah. Like if he tried to walk up to me, I'd be like, bro,
you suck at life.
You are terrible, dude. Yeah. Like I even if you did remember me, which there's no way you would remember me, anyways.
Yeah. But everybody remembers him.
Yeah, everyone remembers. But I'm just saying, like I would just be like, yeah, bro, I got nothing to say to you, man. Like, again, there's a difference between when you're in charge, and like, I'd say being a dick. You're not even being a dick. You're just, this is the way it's going to go, and this is what needs to happen, and you give clear, concise parameters, and then if those are exceeded or whatever, then you have to like do something. But if that's the kind of leader you are, then everything's going to be fine. But when you like are just sadistic and like just like all you're looking for is an excuse, even if you're making them up. Yeah. Like we'd have to have camelbacks on full of water, and then after workouts he would come check them, and if they weren't still full of water, you would get smoked. So you're not supposed to. So no one's drinking their water because they don't want to get smoked. So it's like, it's just.
Yeah, I used to hear because I had a guy that was part of the Dan Castaneda era, and when he showed up to my team, even in the 18 Charlie course, they would go through his his debacle, and he would talk about like fight clubs and all that shit.
Oh, dude, I've heard. I didn't experience any of that, but I've heard the stories about.
Yeah. I'm like, and it just goes to show you, like, you're gonna have, regardless of where you're at, you're gonna have fucked up dudes.
Yeah,
right? Guys are gonna go through the cracks, and they're gonna make lives miserable. So it is what it is. So now we'll fast forward to selection, and we'll talk about it about like 3 different phases. The first week being admin week, or where you do all your physical gates. How was that for you as an 18 X-ray going through?
I mean, it's still kind of the unknown, you know, like you don't, I mean, I knew enough from reading, and we all, like, you know, G2 everything. We're like, how long are the runs? How long are the rucks? You know, what all you have to do. You still don't really know. So even when you're like, I'm pretty sure this is a 3 mile. I'm pretty sure this is the 6, you know, whatever target you're thinking it's at, you still don't know when you're like doing that run or when you're doing that ruck. So you know, it's always that, like, I don't know if I'm going fast enough. You know, like, I don't know what they do now, but we couldn't have watches either. Still no watches. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's first week is just in gates, right, and then land nav after that. And land nav too. I mean, like, I grew up, you know, kind of rural Texas, and we were out in the, I wouldn't call them woods, you know, there's mesquite trees, but it's kind of just plains. So I was outside a lot, but I had never really, in a mountainous or big, you know, wooded area, I'd never done land nav like that either. So other than like in basically little crap like that, but I'd never done like across really long distances. So I was like, take this opportunity to learn everything you can, you know, the first few days where they're teaching you all that stuff, because they're, you know, getting all your points the first day. 1, you get rest, and 2, it looks really good. So stands you apart a little bit from everybody else. If say you're not the fastest or strongest, you know, dude out there, you got to find other ways to stand out. But so yeah, land nav went well. I ended up getting all my points. I got a little bit of help at the end. I was there. I knew I was in like the very vicinity of my last point, and I had like 7 minutes. But I can't, like, because it's like thickets everywhere. You can't really just see. So you could be, you know, just 50 meters away, but you're like, there's other stuff in time. So I was like, I don't have enough time to just like start searching this whole thing. And some of our classmates just, I don't know who they were from. I think they were Cav Scouts maybe or something. I don't know. But they would like yip. Well, like anytime we were doing anything, they'd be like, yip, yip. And like, at first I thought it was annoying, you know, because they'd be like, a cadre would say something and they'd be like, yip, yip. We're all like, all right, what's going on here? That's all that came to mind. So I yipped really loud, and happened to be one of those dudes was at that point. He yipped back, and I heard it and ran.
That's awesome.
Found my point. The point sitter was like, he was like, I don't think that's illegal, but I've never seen that happen. And I was like, can we keep that quiet? Like, you know, you don't have to share this with everybody, bro. It's super cool if you would just
awesome.
Sign my sheet and let me go. So I think he was cool enough.
Yeah.
So,
how was team week for you?
Team week wasn't bad, man. I don't know. Something about it, I didn't hate it. Everybody hates. A lot of people say they hated it. I mean, it sucked. Obviously, there's suck. But it's also like, as you're carrying it and you're like right next to like a dude that you've become pretty good friends with in the last few days, even though you know really nothing more about them, but just that bond you have of sucking together. And you just like look at them and you're like, this sucks really bad. And they're like, yeah, this sucks so bad. And then you just laugh and then you just keep going, you know? And then you finish what you're supposed to finish. And it's cool. So, we had pretty good dudes. Actually, we're kind of, I don't know, maybe it's not rare, but my basic, all the dudes pretty much that were 18 series contracts from basic training, there was like 12 of us. Yeah. Like almost all of us made it.
Oh, that's
There was awesome. Like 1 or 2 dudes, and the reasons that they didn't make it were like real like touchy, not like, you know, it wasn't like they quit or, you know, it was like something had happened and they didn't pass something and then they didn't get a second chance when other dudes did, kind of thing. And they would probably be here today. Probably would have been in it as well. But yeah, so my selection, it was with all those guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, and so I wasn't always necessarily with them in the tent, you know, because we're, you know, spread around. But, you know, you see them, you know, and you get to like talk to them a little bit when you're got a little bit of time to shower or whatever.
And that's motivating within itself.
Yeah, and so those kind of relationships was what I've been, you know, lacking, because you don't really realize it, but like, you know, you have your friends from back home that are your good friends, you know, and through high school, but like there's not, for most high schoolers, there's not a lot of adversity, you know, attached to just hanging out with that person, right? Yeah. So it's just a different, you see people in a different, you know, in how they would actually react, and you get to know them a little bit better. So
now, do you remember how big your selection class was?
I think we were I think it was over like 320, maybe. And gotcha. I think there was like 80 of us.
Towards the very end?
Yeah. 88 or 89 or something like that. Yeah.
So how was that, so leading up to that point, were you second guessing your decision to join and going that route, or were you just enjoying yourself at this point?
Man, I would just be like, you know, in times of either when you're sucking or you're just like, when you're just wandering through the woods, you know, like say an SUT or whatever, and you're just like with, you know, doing whatever you're doing, and you're just like, man, did I do this? Did I sign up for, like, there's no way out now.
Yeah.
You're here. Like, if you screw this up, you go somewhere worse, you know? Yeah. So, like, this decision's made.
Yeah.
You either make it or everything that you wanted doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be real pissed.
Yeah.
You know? And you're going to hate yourself for that. So, that was just my mentality going through everything. And there was a lot of the X-rays that had that same mentality. You know, like I felt like some of the regular Army guys that had come over feared going back to the regular Army a lot less than we did.
Yeah, because you guys, it's literally the unknown.
Yeah, dude, and like we'd seen, even though like some of the cadre are dicks and everything coming up through the course, even despite them, like you still know it's better. Like you still know, like you're not dealing with the same crap that you would deal with in a line unit.
Yeah,
you know, so.
Yeah,
that was definitely a motivating factor throughout that.
Oh, I'm sure.
The entire course, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah. Now, you go through selection and you get selected. How was that selection ceremony for you? How'd you feel, I guess, once you found out that you got selected?
I mean, yeah, it was definitely. I don't want to say I was surprised. I'm not saying that because I was like, I'm definitely gonna make it type of mentality. It was just kind of like, there's no other option here. Yeah. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't get selected. Yeah. So I just was like, no, you're just going to get selected. That's the only way you can think about it, because otherwise, like, why are we even here?
Exactly.
And I don't remember the dude that like showed me my sheet and like talked to me, you know. But it was cool. I mean, he was chill. He was, you know, like, continue working hard, and you know, you'll do well in the Q course type of mentality. And I like at 95% of the instructors I had all the way through were cool. You know.
When did you go through?
So early 2000, January 2011, I started, and I did. That's when they had us do language first.
Oh, okay. No, I'm talking about selection.
Oh, selection. Selection was in. Shoot, no, I must be off. It must have been 2011 was selection. And then I got to the Q course at the end of 2011, started 2012. I got you. Yeah.
Before we move into the Q course, do you have any advice for any of the guys currently watching, prepping for selection, getting ready to go, whether it's mental, physical? Do you have any advice for those guys?
Always be the dude that is encouraging everyone else to do better. So, like, if when you're carrying water cans, you carry yours a little bit longer. Right, you just carry yours a little bit longer, and then when other dudes are struggling, you help them, because that, like, and you always be the one that's doing the most. Not the most in like a takeover way, but the most in like, what do you need? To get this done. Like, let's do this. Be that dude, and because not only will all the dudes notice that, but the cadre do too.
Yeah.
You know, they're watching the whole thing while you're sucking, and if you're the guy that's pushing everybody a little bit harder and saying, let's go, guys, we can do this, because you can.
Yeah.
You can always go farther.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
oh, yeah.
your body will always take you 1.5 miles longer than you could ever thought was possible.
Yeah. You just have to know that it's a possibility.
Yeah, and so that's what I always tell dudes when they're asking about selection. I actually have a buddy that I didn't know him. I didn't really know him, but he's married to a family that's really good friends with our family back home. And so I kind of started, when he told me what he was doing, I started talking to him about it and trying to just give him some pointers, some of the things I did wrong and whatnot. And that's the main thing I always say is, like, just don't quit. Like, quitting is not an option.
Yeah.
So the only option is to solve the problem in the best way possible. And if you do that, you're going to make it.
Yeah.
Because the dudes that don't make it either don't solve the problems or they quit, you know? So
now, what would you say to the folks that go in it with a plan B essentially ready? What would you say to those dudes? Because I hear a lot from some of the guys that reach out to me asking for advice, like, hey, in case I don't make it, I'm going to do this. So in case I'm going to make it, like, what do you think is the best place to go afterwards? And I, of course, shut it down, because I'm like, hey, if you go in with a plan B already, more than likely you're already preparing yourself to fail.
That's what I mean. If you go into a run and you're like, I'm going to go 3 miles, but maybe 2 if I'm tired. Guess what? You're going to be tired. You're only going to do 2 miles. You know, so you can't have that mentality. And if you do have that mentality, you're probably going to fail.
Yeah.
You might slip through and make it.
Yeah.
But you're probably going to fail.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like be realistic about stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like if you handle situations in a realistic manner, if you do the things you're supposed to do, you're probably going to be okay. You know?
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. So you get done with selection. Now you get ready to start the Q course. How was your stay in the Q course itself?
I mean, long, long. Also, I made a decently not wise life choice also with my first. So like I got married in the Q course without telling my parents, and with like kind of eloped type thing with this person who I didn't even know.
Fayetteville got you,
man, dude, sucked me in and spit me out, dude. That we're not going to talk about all that. We'll just let it be known that I have a child from that relationship, so I have no regrets. But life hit me real hard in the civilian sector. So that was all happening during the Q course. So I was distracted. I would say the language went fine. Everything with that went fine. And then when I went to SUT in Air Week, I was a toe jumper. Hit the side of the plane, knocked teeth out, like fractured my jaw a little bit, TBI, all the good stuff.
Were you conscious the entire time?
No, I was unconscious. They were apparently pulling me back in, and then my D-bag deployed as they moved me.
For those that don't understand what that means, could you elaborate on what took place?
So when we jump out of airplanes, we have a static line, so it's hooked to your parachute. So when you jump out, it pulls itself for you. Occasionally, for whatever reason, they get hung up on something and they don't pull all the way. So I was towed. So I'm towed behind the aircraft while everyone else had jumped, and now their lines are flying everywhere, and I'm just like flying in that. So the protocol, if someone's unconscious, is to tow them back in. Obviously, you want to bring them back in, because if you cut them loose, they're just going to fall to the ground and die. So they were pulling me back in, and then my D-bag deployed. So my chute did deploy. I was unconscious for that part. Woke up, spitting teeth out, and where it's a combat jump too. So we're like full combat gear and everything.
So now did they pull you all the way? Because once your chute deploys, it should have pulled you the opposite direction as they were pulling you in.
Yeah. They were trying to pull me in, and then it went, and then it was gone, and then they just had the D-bag after that. So I went as I was supposed to go the first time. But whatever was hung up, or whatever was wrong with it, not sure. There are theories. There was investigations. Doesn't really matter. But that happened. Knocked some teeth out. Whatever. They took me to the hospital, did some scans, and they were like, "Yeah, I mean, you have a concussion, but like how do you feel? And of course I was like, I feel fine. Let's go. Let's get back. I didn't want to get dropped.
Yeah.
So they put me back in. I'm like, no teeth. They put me back in. I made it until that next day. We were doing something. We were getting ready to do a patrol or something. And it was like, this is also in June. So it's like, it's hot. And I passed out again. And then they were like, all right, bro.
You got to hang out.
You got to go. So then I had to go to, I got put into the whole med battalion or whatever.
Yeah, med hold.
Yeah, med hold. It took me 5 months to finally get a return to duty.
Oh, dude, your fucking Q course was real long.
Dude.
Especially as a medic, too.
Dude. So, for like 5 months, I begged a full bird.
Yeah.
And he finally let me go back in. And after that, though, I mean, other than the CTM, the combat trauma module I told you about. But, the Q course was pretty easy.
Yeah. What'd you do for those 5 months? How'd you keep yourself busy and occupied, not fall into that fucking, just getting in trouble? You know what I mean? Because you can easily.
So I had this at this point. I had already married this person. So she loved it because I only had to go in the morning, for like PT or like workout and all that stuff, and then. I was usually cut loose for the day. So she loved it because I was like home all the time. And I hated it. Yeah. I hated it. I just wanted to be like doing stuff, and I knew this is like complacency is the way that you can it ruins everything. So I was like scared of that happening. But again, it's the same, like motivation. Like if I get dropped from here or if I don't continue on, like there's no just staying here. There's no, there's a finite amount of time right now. Yeah. And I need to make it through.
Now, did you choose 18 Delta, and was it French, or what'd you get?
No, I got Arabic. I chose Bravo, Bravo, Bravo.
They heard Delta,
Delta,
and
Delta. They were like, you're a Delta, and I put Spanish because I'm from Texas, and I'm not saying I can speak Spanish, but I can at least understand enough of it most of the time to know if they're talking about me. And so I was like, Spanish, that'll be easy. No, Arabic.
Jesus.
I was just
you must have had a high D-Lab score.
Yeah, it was decent.
Yeah. So now you get done with the Q course, and then you get ready to go to third group. At this point, did you know how to properly report? Were you excited about going to group? Like, how was that initial, I guess, entering into?
I mean, you're super nervous. And Penrod was the CSM when I came. So I walk in, I'm just like, this dude's massive, and he's like just a massive man. So yeah, I mean, obviously super nervous, but I just, you just do what you're supposed to do. Like, if you mess it up, they're probably just going to laugh at you as long as you're trying to do it. Or, they may get pissed and you may get punished for it, but it was the same kind of thing, it was like, it's the Army. I'm going to go into it, and if it's silly, I'm going to deal with it. And if it ends up being cool, then heck yeah. And it, obviously, I mean, Penrod was terrifying, but he was straightforward, this is I'm sending you to this battalion, blah blah blah, this is what I expect out of you. I'm like, Roger Sergeant Major, ready to go.
Where'd you end up going to? Was it because you ended up in what, BCO?
Yeah, BCO, 1st Battalion. So when I got there, RP was the sergeant major. Yeah. And love RP. He's awesome. Yeah. He didn't like me. There was a misunderstanding. I apologize for that. But, either way. But he did like me at the time when I first got there. And he told, I came in with another guy. Mm-hmm. He was a Bravo. Taylor McAllister. You know Taylor? Yeah. God, he's one of my favorite people. He looks like Jesus now. He's got like long hair. Yeah. Love him. Anyways, we came to the company at the same time, and 2-5 and 2-1 needed medics. Yeah. And so RP, before he's like, hey, you're going to interview for these two teams. He was like, if you don't want to go to dive school, he was like, don't go to the dive team. Yeah. He's like, because if you don't want to go and then you screw up dive school and you don't make it, then you're going to get kicked off and you're going to have to go to another team anyways, and it's just going to set your career back. Yeah. He was like, so just be real. He was like, I'm not telling you not to go to a dive team. He's like, just if you do, make sure you want to do it, because it's not easy. Yeah. And I was like, I didn't join the Army to swim, you know? And of course I didn't know anything about it, right? Like, I didn't know anything about the team dynamics. I didn't know anything about anything. So Ronnie Blackburn, pulled me, out for an interview. We went out to the picnic table out behind old Bico,
Yeah.
And he's like, Ronnie, he's just like, of course he's a fucking terrifying E7 at this point in his life. Just like he's trying to be menacing. I can sense it. And I was just like, oh my God. All right. And, I was like, hey man, I don't want to waste your time. Well, I didn't say, hey man, I was like, hey Sergeant. I was like, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to be on the dive team. I was like, I don't know anything about you guys. It's not a personal choice. I don't want to go to dive. I just don't want to be a diver. You thought I just told him that I was
You killed his fucking...
Yeah, that I was just like a homosexual, or something. Like you'd have thought he was just he was just like staring at me like flabbergasted.
What did you say?
Like, you're supposed to be begging me to be on this team. And I'm just like, that's not, no, sorry, bro. So Ronnie and Ross Scalise hated me. Dude, Ronnie wouldn't talk to me after that. Like, wouldn't even acknowledge that I existed for at least a year. So I was well on 2-1 and already. I don't think he acknowledged me until after I got back from Afghanistan. Actually,
yeah.
But Rod would make it a point every time he walked past me to make a comment. About how big of a pussy I was, or you just want to just sit there and do nothing, man. Just like, all right, bro. Sorry, I turned your team down. It was again not personal. I mean, I love Rod. He was my company sergeant major later on. And it was great working for him. So obviously,
awesome dudes. It's just that's our way of fucking with each other, because I want to make sure the audience understand. It's like we're all in the same company, because you were on 2-1, I grew up on 2-3. Mm-hmm. Ronnie, whose episodes are airing right now, he grew up on 2-5 on the dive team. But it's one of those company dynamics. The dive teams are typically they see themselves as the best teams in the companies, right?
They're so cool, bro. They're so cool.
Oh shit! So now you choose 2-1. And you choose to go that route. How was your initial new guys stay at 2-1? Because at that point, you guys had, was it Gilbert?
Yeah.
Who was you guys' team zone at that point?
No, Craig was the senior.
Oh, okay.
When I first got there.
Gotcha.
Rob Blount was the team sergeant.
Gotcha.
At that point. And then, what's his, who was the team leader? Old fatty.
Donovan? Was it Donovan?
No, Donovan was later. Before that, though, it was... that fat dude that pornographed his wife or whatever.
What?
He was a major.
What are you guys doing over on 2-1? I didn't hear about that.
I don't know.
Shit.
He caught his wife having an affair with some hospital person at Womack.
Yeah.
And so he recorded it and then posted it online.
Oh.
Which is illegal.
Yeah.
Revenge porn, I think is what it's called. And posted it online, and they sued him.
God.
Millions of dollars.
Was he still on the team when that took place?
No. This is far after.
I gotcha. Well, you guys fell him. You guys should.
Bro, man. Probably shouldn't have talked about it. Yeah, he was fine. He was a nerd on the team. He was just a fat nerd.
Yeah.
He was those officers that you're no one takes seriously.
Yeah.
He dead man gunned, the ranges all the time.
Yeah.
He's just, I wouldn't have went into combat with him. I wouldn't have felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And he knew he didn't want to do that. He wanted to sit back and do PowerPoints and do computer stuff. That's all he wanted to do. So he was ready for staff time already.
Yeah. Well, if you're an officer watching, don't be a nerd, right?
Yeah. Don't be a nerd, bro. Just come in and be cool, and know your place.
Yeah.
Now, yes, you're in charge.
Yeah. But you're not.
We'll play that game.
So now, once you got the 2-1, was that what you were expecting as being a SF, being a Green Beret? Was that everything that you envisioned? Were you doing the job? Were you enjoying yourself up to that point?
Man. I had some really good. There were some really good new guys that were on the team. James Hensley was new at that time. Scott Bunch had been there for a little bit.
I remember Bunch.
Yeah. Taylor Larson was the senior Charlie. Who else was... And then Craig was obviously the senior Delta. I think Josh Clark was the, he was the senior Echo.
Yeah.
Josh Clark is a whole nother story that doesn't need to be talked about here. But they were in the sense of the team and the team dynamics and like what needed to be done, you know, regardless of some of the issues outside of the company or inside the company, but outside of the team that were going on, you know, and some of the blah blah whatever shit that I didn't even know about at the time. I was brand new, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone was pretty. Let's just get the job, whatever job we're doing. Let's get it done, you know, and try to have a little bit of fun doing it. And so yeah, it was super mild actually. Way less. I thought I was gonna get fucked with way more. Yeah. We'll just put it that way. Like I was just prepared for it. Like it's gonna happen. You can't get in a fight with anybody. Just like
just
figure it out and take it and go, and it'll be over. You know, soon.
Now, when did Ronnie take that team?
So we went to Tajikistan at the end of 2013.
Yeah, because you guys backfilled us.
Yeah, because 2-1 was there, and then 2-4 was supposed to go, but then the Rolling Stones article on 2-4 dropped.
Yeah,
and the ambassador in Tajikistan was like, "No, we don't want them." So 2-1 went back.
I gotcha.
So then we got taken out of rotation for Afghanistan.
I gotcha.
So when we got back from Tajikistan, so it was still Rob Blount, but when we got back, he was leaving, and the rumor was Craig Gilbert was going to take over.
I gotcha.
But I wanted to go to Afghanistan, so I volunteered. I was like, "Send me over, please." To some team, so they sent me over with Charlie Company. Working with 3-3 and 3-1.
Gotcha. A
lot. So Brandon Brewington was the team sergeant 3-1.
Yeah.
Awesome experience.
Was that
warfighter?
Was that 2013?
2014.
2014. Was that around the Kundus Incident, or was that after? I think that was after.
After.
I gotcha.
I think it was after. Yeah.
I gotcha.
It was after Jerry Gass.
Yeah.
Because I backfilled Jerry Gass.
I gotcha.
So, Clay Hood was on that team. A bunch of James Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome dudes. So I did about 5 months with them. Came back. Had a little snafu. Talked to the wrong person. The plan was to go to 3-1, switch teams and stay with them. Because we gelled really well. Everything was great over there, you know, and we were excited to, like, move forward. Anyways, didn't happen. Got blown up. Had to stay on 2-1. Craig Gilbert took over. I won't say he's the worst team sergeant that's ever lived, but if being a team sergeant was posting on Facebook every day, then he was a great team sergeant.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, we all have our strong points, all right? We all have our strong points.
Right.
So now did Ronnie backfill Craig then?
No, Floyd.
Oh yeah.
Floyd took over.
Yeah.
Floyd was great.
Yeah.
Awesome. We butted heads at first.
Yeah.
And then he realized that I'm just always right. You know, he finally realized it, and when he did, same with Ronnie.
Yeah.
Ronnie was like, "Nah, dude, you're wrong," and then he realized I was right. He was like,
"Yeah."
I mean, I always just made it a point. Like, I'm just gonna tell you exactly what I think.
Yeah.
You know? There's no point in sugarcoating anything. If you don't like me, that's fine. Like the first day Ronnie took over, I'm like sitting on the computer doing some Delta stuff, whatever, sitting there. He's sitting right here. I can see him like keep looking over at me, just like looking over at me. I'm just like, he's like, "Hey," so I'm like, "Yes, Sergeant." And he's like, "You know I don't fucking like you." And I was like, "Yep, I know that." And he was like, "All right." And I was like, "Thank you." Like, I don't know what to say in this situation. But then after that, every day got better. You know, every day got better.
Yeah.
And went hot and heavy. We did the. I think what really did it is we were planning up for the England trip. We were for.
Yeah, because you guys did that for a while, right?
What's the agency? The defense.
Shit.
Whatever.
I can't think of it right now.
Can't think of the name right now.
Yeah, but you guys did what, 6 months on that?
No, it was like 2 months. Oh, if they gave me 6 months in England.
You'd be a fucking.
Dude, I'd be an expat. I'd be an expat. They'd be like, he never would come back, bro. No, it was fun. It was cool. We tested security on all the Air Force bases.
Oh, I got you. So, like a red cycle tasking almost.
Yeah. So we got in. Snuck in.
That sounds like a cool.
Really, more it was socially engineered our way in.
Yeah.
Because they tested. We couldn't actually break anything. So everybody out there, it's not like we weren't like James Bond. However, I did put on khakis and a polo and I had a clipboard with a fake memo on it, and I got in everywhere.
Oh, that's
I'm just saying.
You just got looked apart.
Everywhere. A little bit of personality. Like, what's up, man? Come on, I just got to look. All I have to do is check off these things, man. That's it. And then I'm out of your hair. And I don't have to come back for another year. And they're like,
fine.
All right, bro. One dude literally, he's on camera saying it too. Sorry, bro. Sorry. He's like the NCOIC too. He's like, man, put on khakis and a polo and have a clipboard and we'll just let you in anywhere, won't we? And I was like,
yeah. You
have no idea.
Oh, that's awesome.
Your commander's going to see this. That sucks.
Now, because you guys ended up doing Africa trips too, right? Because
we did Africa right after that.
Okay, I got you.
And that was the trip Sean died.
Okay. Now, were you there for that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was a medic.
Oh, I got you.
So we were moving back from we closed down Maradi in Niger, and we were headed to Tawa.
Yeah.
And so it was like actually, I can't remember how long the ride was. It was hours. It was an hour-long drive, of long, driving. So, rear differential on a truck ended up locking up. You know how the roads are over there. Mm-hmm. They're all in embankments 5 feet high.
Yeah.
So if you happen to go off of that, probably, and we weren't going slow. We were never going slow, So, Sean ended up getting thrown. But otherwise, that trip was awesome. It was a really good trip. With a lot of really good dudes too.
Yeah, because once Ronnie got in there, man, you guys had one of the best teams.
We did.
In the entire company.
The tragedy is that we didn't get to go to Africa or to Afghanistan together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that team was solid.
Yeah.
It was solid.
So now, leading up to that point, man, are you enjoying yourself? You're having a good old time? What made you? Did you choose to go to Swit, or were you voluntold to go to Swit?
No, I chose. So things at that point after the Africa trip, the plan was, and this wasn't my plan. I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want to be a medic to begin with. I didn't hate it. Don't get me wrong. I did it, and I enjoyed the trauma aspect of it, and I enjoyed all that. But the clinical, in the hospital stuff, I couldn't really stand. So there's no. There's not really a whole lot of places unless I want to go live in a really big city and be a paramedic. You're not going to see trauma kind of exclusively if you look at it that way. So that was the only really part of medicine that I liked, and I knew I didn't want to really do that going forward. But for the team and everything, it was great. Again, I don't regret any of my time doing that, and I think I was a pretty damn good medic, and I don't think anyone would argue with that statement. But the wife at the time, it was, me being a doctor would have been the logical next step to being more complete, I guess you could say. And that's kind of the way, I guess it was still under the control a little bit, So the plan was to either go to SWIC or just go to the B team, do B team time, and then get out and try to go to med school. Ended up I was gonna have to go to SWIC, and I was like, cool. Ronnie was going to SWIC at the same time, so he pulled me over, and obviously that was great working for him. But I also got divorced in this time period, so it was a little rocky. You know how it goes. We make the best of the situation, but it wasn't fun. We'll just put it that way. And then. I got to SWIC in 2019.
Yeah.
I was the ops sergeant for the 2nd Special Warfare Training Group, the HAC, So basically we control, at that point, I don't know how it is now, and it needed to change, and the second I got there, I was like, this is insane. Something needs to change here. But we were HHC in charge of all of the language students without even a battalion commander. Like, so we would have to go, everything had to go up to 06 approval, which is just insane, right?
Ronnie
like,
had his hand full.
And like, we're just dealing with, like, and we're dealing with 800 students and with a staff that's for an HHC, not for, you know, managing students. So it was a little bit of a nightmare. I've met some of the dudes that had me, you know, as a cadre, and I always ask them, like, so you think I was like a big dick? Because, like, sometimes I felt like I had to be a dick, you know? And they're like, no, like, I mean, you got mad at us sometimes, but most of the time you're pretty cool.
But we did do some dumb shit too.
Yeah, man. But I was never like I was never gonna be the dude that like just smoked everybody, and I never did. I would definitely screw with people, and I hated mustache. That was my thing, and I hope that I get to pass that on, because I would gladly have them tell stories about me. One day I pulled everyone out there. It was like 800 students all like lined up. Yeah. And I was like, if you have a mustache, get your ass up here right now. And they're all like, so like 30 students come up there. And I go through and I find something wrong with every one of their mustaches. I'm like, you're out of regs, you're out of regs, you're out of regs. I'm like, shave it by tomorrow, shave it by tomorrow. Every single one of them. Yeah. Every one of them shaved except for one dude. He's actually a good friend of mine now too, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so that would be the kind of stuff that I would do. Yeah, you know, which is like,
because you got to make it fun, right? You got to keep it light.
And like I'm also trying to prove a point that like you don't always get what you want, bro. Yeah. You know, like you want that mustache, well, you don't get it right now. You can have it later. Like
mine was when I was in the 18 Charlie committee. Like I would hate guys that show up with beards, especially like your black dudes.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I would, because I'm like, I'm a black dude and I shave my face.
Right? I break out when I don't shave too, bro.
And I'm like, so when I get you know a guy that comes through and he's like, I got a shaving profile, I'm like, so do I, dude. I still don't look like you. Yeah. You know, you want a fucking beard?
That always annoyed me. But
get your ass to the regiment and fucking earn it. For now, shave your ass fucking face or don't show up to class tomorrow. No, we all have our pet peeves, but we never, like, I never take it to the Dan Castanedas of the fucking world.
I
always keep
never.
it professional.
No, the most thing I would ever do is I would just waste their time. Yeah. I'd be like, look, y'all are wasting my time, so until I'm done with all this tonight at 7 or 8 o'clock, whenever I end up being done with it, then y'all can leave. Yeah. Like, normally I let y'all leave. I was like, y'all come in for a formation at 09. And then generally, I have a detail of dudes that I need to do things. And then generally everyone else gets released for the day. Yeah. So other than that little bit of time that you might be having to get on a detail or something, which guess what? It's life. This is your job right now, bro. Your job is to be details for things that need to happen in our unit. Yeah. That's the way the Army works. Yeah. I'm sorry that it offends you, but you have to come to work some days. But I'm like, most of the days you're leaving at 9, bro. Like at 9:30, if I'm having to call, I had to call roll because like there's no way you can do it otherwise. You know, I tried it other ways. I'd be like, give me a count. And they'd be like, well, we're good. And I'd be like, I'd count. And I'd be like, why are you too short? And they're like, oh, well, they're en route. I'm like,
God damn it.
Like, that's not a count, bro. That's a false report. That's what that is. Like, don't make me be a dick, man. If you don't have dudes here, tell me why they're not here. Yeah. And I need to know every single one. That's the way this works. When I took over, they weren't even having them come to formation on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, geez. So they had all sorts of time to get in trouble.
I'm just like, what happens if one of these dudes on a Monday night dies in a car wreck coming back from the strip club? Yeah. What are you going to tell them? Oh, no, I would have. I don't know how he was doing that. He had formation in the morning. No, he didn't. Yeah. Like, oh, dude, it's just a disaster waiting to happen, man. And and like a lot of dudes were getting fat. Yeah. Because they didn't require an exit PT test, so we brought that back like immediately. Like, no, like you were gonna at least pass a PT test, bro.
Before you get the group.
Before you go to a group, like, and if you can't do that, you should not go to group. And we had dudes that couldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah, it just blows my mind. So now, was that what did it for you to cause you to retire?
No, honestly, and you know what? They can. The whole people are like blaming all the COVID stuff, but that's when I decided for sure. I mean, I was in Swit and I was pretty certain. I would say like I was like more leaning towards the getting out just because I was like I didn't see a big future. Yeah. But at the same time, if some things would have happened differently with Ronnie and me, and then some of the places that he was slated to go, if some things would have worked out a little bit better, then I probably would have. There was a chance that I was going to stay in. Like if some of these key things work out, then I might stay in and take a team.
And that's Ronnie getting a company and all that good stuff.
Right, and because he's the dude I wanted to work for.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, no matter what we were doing, because I'd worked for him in every other facet, Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, it'd be great. So when that didn't end up working out, so I was kind of like, whatever, probably not going to stay in. But then, so I'm the course manager of the regular warfare planning course. It was still the operational design course at the time. Yeah. They changed it. They just shelved it, I think, which is insane. But it's
now you're in BCO 6th Battalion, right?
Right. It's so basically it's operational design as a concept for war is just what that course kind of goes over. Yeah. So in layman's terms, how would, if say Nigeria tomorrow was taken over by a terrorist nation, right, or terrorist government took over and assumed control of Nigeria, what would our plan be to help depose those terrorists and give the country back to a government that the United States is going to work with? So that's what this course is all about.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Now it's higher level planning. Yeah. It's all second and third order effects, and so that and it teaches you to kind of understand the importance of planning. Yeah. And so it would have actually been great after managing this course to actually go back to a team and kind of influence from the ground up, knowing what I know now.
Yeah, because at that point I was over at 6th Battalion in the 3 shop.
Yeah. Yep, you were at 3. Yep. But super amazing course. Colonel retired Paul Burton and a Lieutenant Colonel retired Al Greishaber were the 2 contractors. Yeah. They were contractors just because the way Swit works, they couldn't be like these dudes. I mean, it's a full bird and a light colonel. Like and they're wealths of information. And I mean, Paul Burton, dude, that guy, by far, definitely top 3 smartest people I've ever been in a room with. Yeah. Like, without even a question. Probably number 1. But, like, I'd have to give it a little thought. But, yeah, just right, just spitting that out there. Yeah, like, amazing dude. Knows more about history than he's forgot more about history than I'll ever learn. Oh, wow. He can tell you every aspect of World War I, World War II. Like, that's awesome. Everything. He's read about all of them. I mean, his whole philosophy is if you haven't read 1,000 books about your profession, you are functionally illiterate.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And I'm like, and it's hard to argue. But like, guess what? I am. Yeah. I've not read 1,000 books about my profession.
Yeah, until I read 1,000 books, I can't really argue.
Yeah, and he'll argue, and he's awesome dude. Yeah. So running that course was probably the coolest thing that I did, other than being a team guy, obviously. Yeah. Like, it showed me, though, that there was other avenues of being a Green Beret and doing things that aren't just, team stuff. Yeah. Right? So that was cool. So, again, I was on the fence. I still thought I was going to get out, but there was still a chance, what if a job popped up that I did want to do? Yeah. And then they told me they were going to pull me out as course manager if I didn't get the vaccine.
Oh, shit.
I had a religious exemption going through. Yeah. Right? And I thought that GBs were bros. Yeah. Just like, there's entire SEAL teams, command all the way down, that refused it. Yeah. And the Navy was just like, okay, we'll allow your religious exemption exceptions to just hover. Yeah. Kind of in limbo forever, and now they never had to get them. Yeah. But they were like, even with that memo, we have to pull you out. Yeah, I remember. And then they were gonna sit. Yeah. They were like, and you'll probably have to just come sit in a room. Yeah. I was like, cool, bro. Yeah. Cool, bro. So I did not get the vaccine. Yeah. By the way. But as far as the Army is concerned, I did. Yeah. So screw them. Like. Whatever.
So was that it for you? Is that what pushed you towards?
Yeah. Once that happened, I was like, I'm not staying in this organization. I'm not gonna potentially risk my life for dudes that like clearly don't give a shit about what we want or how this could affect anything moving forward. Yeah. Like, I got your other stupid vaccines, the ones that have been out for 15 years and have been tested and like, but why would I take this experience? I'm a healthy. At that point, I was 33, 34, 35. Yeah. I'm like, I'm a healthy adult male.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need any help. Like,
Yeah.
even if I do catch this thing, it's like the flu, I'm probably gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a decision that you guys should make, or you should not be like making a big deal out of it. And we could solve this.
Yeah.
We could solve this like SF has always solved everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of guys went that route, man. Because I remember a lot of guys taking the same stand, and a lot of guys getting pulled from the podium, and essentially bench just a couple of years later for this shit to just evaporate into thin air.
Yeah, now it's not a thing that even would matter. No one would even ask you to take it now, which is just like. But
it blows my mind the amount of people we lost.
So they made us come to this like brief. Is it all these? It's these compounding factors of things that happened, but ultimately it was when I talked. I think it was just my commander had called, and he was like, I'm sorry, he was like, oh, this is not my decision, obviously, but they're saying it. But like, I had to go to this like brief, of them warning us that we were open to UCMJ action.
Dude,
I'm just like, I'm like, are you serious right now?
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a exemption policy a exemption letter in process.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you threatening me with like UCMJ? Like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, because I remember when I was in there, like, it was no shit coming from the 1-star. He was like, hey, I want a list of everyone that refuses to take the vaccine. And then the battalion commander had to write up the counselings.
Lost their minds.
And
guess
I'm
what?
Like, holy shit.
Not working for you anymore. Y'all are insane, dude. Y'all are part of the problem, and I don't want any part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about the business later, but if they ever try that again, my businesses are not closing.
Yeah, exactly.
They will not close.
Yeah.
We will guard our businesses ourselves with weapons that we are allowed to have.
Yeah.
If we have to.
Yeah, it blew my mind, man, because that led to a lot of guys going the same route as far as just getting out. Because they're like, I've done everything you asked me to do. I'll go down range. I do all this shit. I take all this military stuff, but you won't push this on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now fast forward, you decide to get out. Beyond the beret aspect of it, what do you have going on right now as far as your business?
All right, so I'll just kind of start from when it really was before I was getting out, but once I decided that, I was like, all right, I need another avenue to make money, obviously, and what's going to be the best way to do that. So at that time, me and the new wife now, we were still dating. She lived in Charlotte at the time, so I was back and forth a lot, and we'd always take the dogs to a dog bar there. That was like super cool. You just let the dogs run around. You get to have beers, or drinks or whatever. And there's TVs for like with games on, or like you can go sit outside, and the dogs are just like running around playing with each other. Like
that's awesome.
If you like dogs, it's a fantastic scenario, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, we had that idea to try to get something like that going. I was looking for property around Southern Pines, and my real estate agent got word from hers that Khan the owner of the Beltry was gonna sell, or wanting to sell the Beltry, but he wanted to keep it quiet.
Yeah.
Got in contact with him. She was like, "Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, obviously. Like, we'll see, but it'd be cool." Got to talking to him, and it's really, he's an awesome dude. Built the Beltry into what it was. He took it from 2000. He got in 2009, I think. And built it into a very, one of the staples in the community, really, as far as restaurants in downtown area. And he just he was done. He's done working every day. He's old school, man. He was in the kitchen every day, working, more hours than anybody else. And he's in his 50s, You can only do that for so long before you're just like, why am I, you got kids at home that you never see, you got a wife that you don't, you're working on the weekends because it's a restaurant, so I get it. And so he just kind of wanted a way to get out of it, and it's still, but his legacy kind of remains. So we came to some terms and made it work, and it's been cool, man. It's been going. The restaurant business is
it's a beast.
The restaurant business, it's great. Everyone that works for us is awesome. we got real blessed with everybody staying too, so there was continuity when we took over. And I mean, I think we kind of Dan and I. Dan is also a third group guy. I think, do you know Dan?
Was he on 2.5?
He was, but it was later. He was on 2.5 like into 17, 18 past time frame.
Okay.
So a little bit later.
Yeah. He was on 2.5 when Jason Henry had it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was on 2.1 with me and then went to 2.5.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've heard of him through Jason Henry.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I was just called him one day and I was like, hey bro, you want to buy the Beltry with me? Because I needed a partner.
Yeah.
Especially, there's certain things I'm really good at, and there are certain things that Dan's really good at, and they don't overlap. They're like, we got sectors of fire, and it's perfect. It's great. So it's been cool. It's been great. We just got the food truck rolling, so that's gonna be all around the area, and so we pick up events for that. So it's pretty cool. And then we're looking at a second location. Can't talk about it a lot right now, but
I got you.
Hopefully the next very near future we have that all locked down and we'll start pushing that location out.
That's awesome, man. Now, because I'm always curious about this, because as an entrepreneur myself, I know what Green Berets are capable of, right? Because I've done it, you're currently doing it. So what about being a Green Beret, having done the job and getting out, I guess, helps you to be able to get out and, buy a business and then run it, the day-to-day like you are right now?
Right. I think the main thing is to be able to have the two hats and wear them. To have the warrior hat that you got to wear when evil needs to be dealt with. But then you also have to have that hat, the hearts and minds hat, and we joke about it and we laugh about it. Especially us third group dudes who, know what, especially what like First Battalion was all about. But you still have to have that aspect to exist in society, right? You have to like be able to put that hat on and be friends with people and whatever. And whether you're in Africa, you're in Afghanistan. I mean, obviously, Afghanistan, you're not working as closely with the populace, at least not the full populace, But that ability, I think that translates well because the good Green Berets learn the importance of relationships. Because if you don't know a dude, and if no one's like, if the first answer isn't like, oh yeah, that's a great dude. If I ask, I call it the Ronnie test. I'll be like, Ronnie, what do you think about this dude? And he'll just tell me. And if his response is not, he's a great dude, then I know that dude sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
It's funny how that works.
Reputation and relationships.
Yeah.
And if you can't do those, if you can't navigate those along with being the combat aspects of being a Green Beret, then you're not going to be successful. You're not going to be successful as a soldier. You're going to end up, whatever, some little made up position that they put the E8s that nobody wants.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I think that taking that mentality on, I mean, when we go approach someone for a business deal, like we're looking for something equally beneficial, right? If it's going to benefit you, it's going to benefit me, and we can come to terms on all of that. Like we can make this deal, and there's nothing holding us apart from doing it except for what? Why would we not want to make money together?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like all the other restaurants and breweries and everything around, like I'll work with you, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm not against you, bro. The busier it gets down here, the more money we all make.
There's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
You got that abundance mindset.
You gotta have abundance down. Like it's a downtown area. The cooler downtown gets by people coming in and putting money into it, the cooler our spot gets. And so there's obviously the like local politics and we don't get involved in any of that. We're just doing our thing, we're trying to, create some like cool places that gives you an option to go and get food, get out, have fun. For anyone, from any walks of whatever. We'll have live music rock some nights. We'll have country some nights. I haven't had like a rap DJ yet, but actually no, I think we did have a couple dudes that did like more poppy kind of stuff.
Country rap.
Yeah, like it was cool. It was cool. I'm not against it. The only thing I ever said is we're never doing karaoke. So like, don't even ask. It's not allowed. not at the Beltry.
Yeah.
Maybe someday I'll own something and then I'll have the karaoke. Yeah. I won't go there because I hate karaoke. And just I can't watch The Office either because like people being awkward and like
I've never watched that
makes me
show.
awkward and I'm like, oh, why are you doing this? Is so weird. So I can't do it, man. So like when people are karaokeing, if they're good, then I can like sit there for a minute. But then the next dude that gets up there is gonna be like, and I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible, and I can't focus on anything else. And people are talking, I'm like, I can't do this, dude. So bad.
And now, just for the folks that are following, this is the Beltry, and it's in Southern Pines,
Southern Pines, North Carolina. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so if you're out and about, guys, and you need a place to go hang out, which the wife and I just started doing like regular date nights.
Oh yeah, come on by, man.
We need to, because right now we're stuck in one place. It's Char Bar. Like we
Char Bar, dude. Char Bar's a chain, bro. Yeah. Come to the Beltry, which is locally owned and amazing, and try it out. You know. Yeah. So we got obviously the bar is like it's a Irish tavern. We do have the it's third or fourth biggest whiskey bourbon selection in the county. Yeah. No, we're the biggest in the county. It's in the state. We're like third or fourth in the state.
That's awesome.
So we have like when you come in, the main bar is just 200 different bottles of bourbon up there. So there's definitely something for anyone that enjoys that stuff. Yeah. I don't drink bourbon personally because I like vodka and
leads to bad decisions.
Yeah, I drink chick drinks, dude. I get like no shame anymore. I don't care. Guess what? You have fun drinking your Modelo. That to me tastes like garbage, and I'm gonna drink this daiquiri because it tastes delicious.
Yeah, there you
know,
preference.
And I don't care. And if you dudes will be like, look at your drink, and I'm like, yeah, it's delicious. You want some? And then they taste it, and they're like, oh, that's really good. I'm like, yeah, but you're not secure enough to drink this drink like I am.
Dude, it's the funniest thing. So me and the wife will go out, and she likes her beer, but I like the daiquiris and the other drinks, you know what I mean? So of course they come in like this little weird looking cups, the little fruity cups. Mm-hmm. So when they bring them out, they always give her my drink, and they do
that. Yeah,
my wife.
My wife's pregnant right now, so she's not pregnant right now. But before, we'd go to a brewery and I'd get a cider, and she would get a beer, and they'd bring them out and like hand me the girly like cidery drink, like hand that to her, and she's like, oh no, this is his, and I'm like, what's up? Yeah, give me
shame over here.
Give me that good stuff right there, man. I want it.
Now, so yeah, again, guys, that's the Beltry out in Southern Pines. If you follow me over here, make sure you go check it out. Before we end this, we'll circle back a little bit. So when it comes to, and because we all know in this community, in our community, suicide is a big thing, right? Guys take their lives all the time, and it's because guys don't know how to deal with the trauma.
Right.
So now, when it comes to dealing with trauma, how have you been able to deal with it? Whether it's Sean passing away and you having to work on him, all the other stuff that we've seen. How are you able to overcome that, and what have worked for you?
It's the positive relationships in your life. Again, like it all boils down to your relationships. And when I was younger, it was something I had to learn kind of the hard way. Is that like you can't just be a dick all the time to anybody just because you think you can. Like you need to have relationships with people to be successful. Yeah. And then when you are having a hard time, or when there is, tragedy or trauma, your chances of pulling through that, because you have relationships are so much higher. You have those people that you can fall back on. I mean when Sean died, obviously I was the medic, and it was terrible, and you end up blaming yourself. What did I not do right? What did I do wrong? Could he be alive today if I'd have done something different? But Ronnie, literally that the first night that I got back, that they were able to come retrieve us, he was like, bro, no one else is going to understand, but I understand.
Because he's a medic, of course.
And he's lost dudes. Yeah. And he was like, you did everything you could. It was his time to go. Mm-hmm. And, and then just the other positive relationships moving forward, man. Yeah. And that's, my parents, my family, how like supportive they've all been, supported me through the bad marriage. And then now they're supporting me in the really good marriage. So, but yeah, that's what I would say, man, is just maintain and build relationships.
Yeah. That's an awesome way to say it, man, because I always feel like when we get together and we talk and we share these type of stories, like it's gonna help somebody that's currently out there thinking that they're alone and thinking that they don't have a way out. And I'm hoping that them hearing you say that will hopefully help them in their situation. You know,
and always reach out, man. Like even if you weren't really friends with the dude, you know, if you have a number from someone that was on teams, and you reach out and you say, I need some help, someone's gonna find you help.
Yeah,
you know,
like no one will ever, because like you said, as long as you like soldier or just anybody, like if anybody, you know, through Instagram or through my comments, you know, write, hey, I need help, I'm thinking of committing suicide. Like I don't care who you are, I will find you.
Yeah,
I will help you. You know,
that's just the, you know, there's no benefit to ending it, and not only is there no benefit to you, but it's only negative effects on everybody else in your life. And so, you know, if you're one of those people that think that you don't matter, like I'll find people that will beg to differ with you. But so we work with the Self-Charitable Trust. I'm hoping to get in with the Green Beret Foundation and start, you know, getting some stuff going too with them. And I mean, always, you know, you come out of the restaurant and tell me you need a beer and I'll sit down with you. You know, like there's too many dudes that waste what's left of their life and then waste their children's lives over what they've inflicted now on them. And, you know, that kid's never going to be the normal kid that it would have been, right? Because they're always going to have to wonder, like, why did that happen? So just don't be that. Don't be that dude. Yeah.
Like, we've done our part in serving this country for 20 plus years, right? Now that it's over with, it's time for us to take our lives back, essentially, right?
Right.
We experience what we experience. It happens with every generation, whether it's World War II eras, Vietnam, and now global war and terrorism. There's ways to come back from it that, you know, 22 a day or whatever the number is. Like it's ridiculous, right? And it doesn't need to happen. Guys just need to see, here we are, like we're super type A, we were tip of the spear, and we're willing to talk about it and get the help that we need to come back from it, right?
Yeah, man.
So hopefully you guys will get that something from it, and then you'll go get the help that you actually need. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming down and chopping it up with me and just talking about your career, what you got going on right now. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and again, guys, Beltree out at Southern Pines, go check it out. All right. And then if you see Dan, make sure, well, not Dan, but if you see
Dan
Chase.
If you see Dan too, tell him what's up.
Danny's in there too, but if you see Chase, let him know I sent you, all right? Until next time, guys, take care of yourself.